Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, March 13, 2024, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tonight at around 9 p.m., give or take, Eastern. We have a lot of ground to cover and a lot of things to address so that people have some true clarity of what is transpiring. Many people will, running away from any problem only increases the distance from the solution. Every problem has a solution. A lot of people will just they got too many other things going, and so, there's this problem that surfaces, they push it back into the closet. But it surfaces again. We have this vast pool of consciousness inside us, surrounding us. There's three types of thoughts we can choose from: positive, negative, and neutral. Now, the neutral thoughts may still have a subtle positive or negative slant to them, yet are just less fiercely opinionated. The negative thoughts are the clinging type, where the body holds physical tension and the breath is shorter and controlled. The mind is grasping on in fear. Thinking that our ideas, life circumstances, and belief systems must be a certain particular way and not any other way if we are to survive. Positive thoughts, however, feel more liberating, mind expansive, abundant, and healing to the body. There's an instant appreciative vibration and sensation of gentleness, confidence, peace, and warmth around the heart. Now, the real reason I'm explaining the obvious is because we don't often realize what type of thinking we are dwelling in. And the moment we become aware, it gives us a chance at becoming truly free. Because we can all choose, as we know. We can choose. We can choose to be in a negative state like that, or a positive one, or a neutral one. It depends on what we decide to do. It is essential that we explore life outside our normal box of believing if we are ever to evolve. See, this civilization, for the most part, I'm not saying total, but for the most part, we were in this, it's kind of like a merry-go-round. If you ever, when you were a kid, did you get that merry-go-round going so fast, you could feel kind of as our version we thought was the G-forces, is that you could kind of feel the G-force the faster you got it going against your face. And it goes so fast that you couldn't really see much other than on the merry-go-round. And you weren't sure if you were going, well, I'm going to jump off the merry-go-round. But then you said, well, I don't care to get hurt. Because it's, as a kid, it's going so fast. But some of us would jump off, roll down, you know. We would step off and roll. So we didn't get hurt. Maybe a skin, elbow, or knee on occasion, but that's what we did. But it's those that decide to jump off the merry-go-round. Because they know something else. There's something else. Now, the majority on the merry-go-round aren't going to jump off. You know, they're going, no. You're crazy if you're going to jump off. You're going to get hurt. So you heard that people saying, you know, why don't you, you know, step outside the box? And a lot of people are afraid to do that, which isn't negative. They're just, I don't care to. Not interested in stepping out. I'm good where I'm at. Okay? These are the folks that pretty much are, you know, people say asleep, or they have different perspectives. They most likely will not discover in this life anything about who and what they are. They'll go another lifetime, maybe another one after that. And isn't that ironic that all of us, the gods we are in these bodies, are highly enlightened? I mean, the highest vibrational frequency of enlightenment. That's what we are. It's our natural state of being. But, with the body and the amnesia, we don't have a clue about that. We think that it's out there somewhere. You got to go out there, find it. Now, and you can find it in the realms of positive and negative thinking, both. It's always more effortless than we've been told. See, it's always, you ever notice that it's like anything? That that's too hard. It's too complicated. You can't do that. You know, you're just not going to get anywhere doing that. Look at how complicated it is. And it isn't. But this is how we've been trained, educated, programmed, conditioned to believe that it is. It's a natural byproduct and effect from living in a state of perpetual equanimity and neutrality with the mind. So we choose to remove any spiritual enlightenment mask if we are ever to truly arrive. The mask I'm referring to is the one that believes the super pure, holy, sacred beings are those who only have positive, loving thoughts coursing through their brains all day long. It isn't anywhere near that. When positive thinking all day long was a necessity to become enlightened, it would be pretty hopeless for a majority of humanity to ever find real, true inner freedom. When it comes to ourselves, the gods that we are in these bodies, the positive thinking can help us arrive at freedom just as much as negative thinking. Both sides of the coin are needed for us to find the edge, where the mind is dropped and real freedom abides. You may decide to use the positive front door or perhaps sneak in through the negative basement window. Both doors to freedom go to the same place, allowing us to step into our enlightened home, the God that we are. When we arrive in the burning hearth and fire of awareness, we simply want to rest and relax into that cozy, healing nest. This blissful feeling of freedom naturally arises from sitting in front of that fire of awareness. We can then see the negative and positive thoughts come and go, yet the fire of pure awareness remains the same. It's as if we once believed we were puffy clouds who spent too much time floating through the mountain peaks and valleys, forgetting that our real home is the vast, endless sky. Our thoughts are the various cloud formations and consistency of the cloud, while the enlightened state, our real nature, is the infinite sky. In pure awareness, we see that we already are the free sky that has no limits or real boundaries. We understand we are free from our thoughts and beliefs, no matter how high or low they are. No matter what the mind thinks it needs to do to find peace in your life, the real question is, what are you doing to relax into and discover your personal infinite sky, which is always there and waiting for you? Quote from Sri Ramana Maharishi, "The mind is intangible. In fact, it does not exist. The surest way to control it is to seek it. Then its activities cease." Breaking the framework of our deeply indoctrinated belief systems naturally occurs from taking this first step to real freedom. As long as we think our happiness, enlightenment, or successful life depends on having to have only positive thinking, it creates a tension inside us that constricts our consciousness and imprisons our minds in a smaller framework than the unlimited universal intelligence we normally have access to. So I invite you to do a personal test and see for yourself. Explore this little experiment that will blow your mind this week. Think only positive about one particular thing for 1 full hour. Okay? Don't try it, do it. Think positively about one particular thing for 1 full hour. Do not allow the pendulum to swing to the negative. If it does, start the timer over. Eventually, you'll find the mind reaches its positive creative peak and starts desperately seeking for more positivity, or will give up and get pulled into a valley of frustration. Now, the mind is the ultimate con artist at thinking it knows the secrets to making you happy. It will form very specific ideas that you have succeeded or failed in this life, enticing your heart to believe that your innermost nature is also a total success or total failure. Another fun thing to notice here is how liberating it feels to realize that actually Enlightenment has little to do with trying to think positive thoughts or staying free from negative thoughts. We become instantly closer to the state of enlightened freedom, which is the gods that we are, from entering this one small shift in perception. Now, imagine holding this idea as your entire life's perception all day long for the next 21 days. Now, we're talking more about a truly profound shift, a real deepening into the liberated awareness that you are, who is already always free from all forms of suffering. This more expansive perception of reality and liberating relationship with the mind is the first major task to master on the enlightenment path. Quote from a manual. Is truth so particular that there is only one gate to heaven? There are no gates. Heaven is inside you. You are not even the gatekeeper. You are the heaven. So, my message to you is not to try and think positive thoughts. Positive thoughts are great, right? They'll occur naturally. And then they happen on their own. They are much more amazing and spectacular than prefabricated ones. The problem with trying to be positive in this life is that there's often an element of desperation and lack hidden behind it. We're afraid of our darkness, scared of what lurks in the caverns of our minds, and thus feel we need to always be thinking on the positive track to avoid falling in. The pattern of avoidance is a fear-based trip. And it always ends up creating more limitations within ourselves. It is much more enlightening to face that which we cannot face and be with that which we cannot be with. This is another secret to real freedom. Our human goal, so to speak, is always to find total freedom and love. Yet, how can we find this if we are not allowing ourselves to play in all the creative areas within our mind? Who is the master of the mind if there are certain places we dare not adventure into? The dark is deep and humbling. The light is bright and empowering. They both have their ego-freeing benefit. When we are more devoted to the liberation that naturally occurs by tuning into our pure consciousness, then the need to control and micromanage our lives, we connect with the great bliss within that is not at all concerned with positive or negative thinking. When we feel connected, we enter into a divine state of listening. And messages, guidance, start appearing everywhere we travel throughout our day. When our mind is open, clear, and receptive, we can hear the guidance from our soul more clearly and don't need to try to think positively or avoid thinking negatively. Soul is always speaking to us, showing us the way. The only reason we are not hearing the life-affirming, guiding messages from our soul all day long is because of one little thing. One little thing. The ego, mind, personality agenda. Ego, mind, personality agenda is blocking the way. We've become over-identified with this body we're in. Mind and the I or me that is associated with it. This universe has been trying for lifetimes to bring you out of your ego trip. And its agenda. And serious attempt to control the mind. Reality and your future. This universe was simply waiting for this very appropriate time now when you became tired of playing games and were ready for a real experience of your true infinite nature. When ego is lost, limit is lost. You become infinite, kind, and beautiful. Yogi Bhajan. Some of you might remember the old coat hanger antenna hooked to a cable TV. Signal it receives is old-fashioned, outdated, and it interferes with the crisp, clear channel direct from the cable line underneath. Whenever we adjust the coat wire, sound and picture quality can become fuzzy, confusing, or suddenly exceptionally clear. Then we create this pattern of readjusting our wire hanger, thinking it is the answer to a clear life, and never imagine for a moment that we can use the digital HD cable that has already been plugged in for years. It's truly deeply eternal loving when it happens to you that you simply stop wiggling your antenna and tune into your hard line of divine intelligence. The very second you drop the adjustment habit, trying to control the mind and its quality of thoughts, you start listening on a deeper level to the great wisdom that is here beneath it all. The very moment we pull the plug on our thinking machine, the infinite soul that we naturally are becomes obvious, real, and apparent everywhere we go. We become present to the heart beating within us, the breath that brings us deeper sensations of peace, and realize this universe and its infinite playground exists everywhere. As this hardline connection gets stronger, the inner quietness becomes more potent. And we can actually hear this personal angelic guidance as if it was radioed down from an intercom. The truth is our inner guidance is always blasting us with the most enlightening information. We're most needing to know. It's just, are we listening? By practicing unplugging the thinking antenna and turning up the volume on the listening dial, we slowly begin hearing it. and our lives attuned to a more enlightened way of being. When the mind becomes perfectly silent, everything inside instantly becomes crystal clear. We realize that all of our confusion, problems, and personal inadequacies were all being generated by this cheap old antenna. We constantly see and hear a full line of universal truths because we are free from our judgment filters. Every being we encounter becomes a spirit guide with a deep, important message about our life path and insight that directly speaks personally to us. It's not that every single audible word coming out of everybody's mouth is a huge personal message from the divine meant just for you. Yet the more often we practice listening, the easier it is to feel what life choices to make, clearly know where our soul is most wanting to go. There's a film, the name of it, Awaken the World film. Quote from that. In the stillness lies the greatest power. When consciousness becomes perfectly still, the illusion is perfectly understood because it is consciousness that is creating the illusion. Listen to what is listening. Place your attention upon what is paying attention. Then when you're in conversation with another being, use this extra highly perceptive awareness to go beyond the surface meaning of their words. Dive in between their word, beneath their egoic message, and tune into what their soul is trying to share with your soul. If God had a message for you today through this being, what would you most need to hear? This level of soul listening means you're willing to hear a continuously positive message from this universe. This universal source, in its perfection, only delivers messages of love, healing, freedom, and how to reach enlightenment, the God that you are in that body. The messages we receive may send us sailing through the high and holy front door, or down through the dark back basement door, either passageway given. This universe is always conspiring in our favor in an eager attempt to fulfill the most deep and personal needs we have, yet may not know. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. And a lot of us do reread the last one, never seem to get to the next one. Understand that every one of us have everything we will ever possibly need on this endless journey. We're all equipped. Every one of us. None more powerful than the other. And it's becoming more and more apparent that we've chosen to go within, to discover the God in we, to identify and embrace our true power. Not how we've been conditioned, programmed, right? Although that was good because it gave us enough experiences to come to this point, to make the decision to go within and stay within. Now, when you look at the ego mind's pull on us, and all of a sudden you'd say, "Well, I'm going to move out of the material physical world and in to the God I am within this body." Because we already have it. Yeah, we don't need anything out there. We entertain ourselves by creating things. But there's nothing we need out there. Because everything is within. You go within, you communicate with the universe, you're very detailed. You focus on the now and the breath, right? And in that mode of meditation, you may ask the universe, universe, this is what I want. You just one thing. You don't go into 20, 30 different things. You go into one thing, it's very finite, it's very detailed, very complete. And you give it to the universe, and that's it. You don't care. You're not interested because it's already done. Already in the process of manifesting. It's already done. We will eventually get to that where we know it's already done. We don't have any expectations or attachments about it. Period. Therefore, we won't have any expectations or attachments with ourselves. Just about every single time, what do you think it is that stops us? Stops us right in our tracks. The ego mind. Some of us know how to welcome the feeling of pain, honor its teaching, and then understand what it takes to let it go. You may discover that if we don't choose to be with and face our pain, we cannot honestly keep out of bed the next morning, leap out of bed the next morning. Filled with real joy. We may also discover that it is brought to our attention that this one life contains a huge bag of mixed experiences, which can sometimes feel like lying naked in a full bed of thorny, beautiful roses. It can be emotionally painful, physically uncomfortable, And yet the closer we are to it, the more we can smell the sweet healing fragrance wafting through the air. Each day, which you still have your family here, healthy and alive, is truly a precious time to be treasured. Learn how to love your friends and family, accepting them exactly as they are. Appreciate the unique bed of thorny roses you've been gifted, laying on them. And know that if they are really annoying, you don't have to continue laying on them. This life is a school of learning to respond and honor ourselves, enjoying each moment in the very precious and short time we are currently here. There's a very sacred and spiritual journey we are each on. The more often we can see this and appreciate our lessons, the easier and juicier this life becomes. Love without courage and wisdom is sentimentality. Courage without love and wisdom is foolhardiness. Wisdom without love and courage is cowardice. The one who has love, courage, and wisdom moves the world. Aman Hennessy. Courage to live this life is not something we were born with. We enter this world with curiosity, innocence, and openness, and we develop courage along the way. Courage is slowly grown within by overcoming each one of our anxieties, insecurities, and fear. Courage is like a muscle that we must build, grow, and mature as we experience this life and age. If we don't permit courage to develop during our lifetime, we'll feel dominated and devoured by this world. There must be a willingness to be strong and vulnerable at the same time. It is in our flexibility and strength that we can hold our ground for the heart to fully open. It is only from an open heart that we reach the deepest fearless resource of our being and can bask in the divine enlightening energy of our soul. And actually, the word courage came from the old French word courage, which means heart, innermost feelings, and inner strength. When we are in touch with our heart, we feel that we can undertake anything. Real courage is just like a beating heart that is strong, consistent, resilient, and yet also soft and squishy. A healthy heart is not hard, guarded, and tough as nails. A good heart loves this life and recognizes that life is not here or not a have to, but a massive get to. A massive get to. The heart is always giving us this opportunity to be alive, deeply alive, right now. Don't miss out on it. This life is an amazing experience. that we all have been temporarily gifted to enjoy. It takes real mastery over one's mind to live a truly empowered and awesome life. This level of mind mastery requires total transparency, which is the last place we would look to find courage. An open, vulnerable approach has the willingness to allow every micro-truth to shine through. This unveiled nakedness is the great secret to developing the courage and strength that we need to get through life's rough times when they arrive. When we have nothing to hide, we have nothing to lose. It doesn't matter so much what the outcome is, as much as the exploration of love along the way. If you live long enough, it's guaranteed that one day you will need this transparent secret to find unstoppable courage. So you may as well start practicing now. Now, we all have noticed, I believe we have, that not all human beings we meet are truly alive. It takes a very brave soul to be vulnerable enough to show up and live life fully. Many people pretend that they are enjoying their time here. Yet, have you experienced that? Many people on this planet, they pretend that they are enjoying their time here. Yet, when you gaze into their eyes, they look like and act like they're dead and sleepwalking through this life, thinking themselves to be safe, free from pain, danger, or harm's way. They whittle away their time feeling lazy and avoiding life's challenges. You can see each potential reverent moment of their life slips through their fingers like water. And it feels like they wouldn't notice it or really care if everything suddenly was gone. When we face our fears and sit with our pain, we harness the simple energy inside to be ruthless without fear, vibrantly creative in our approach, and enjoying the sweetness of being alive. We can then show up emotionally for others, be honest and open with our families, fully embrace the changes and challenges of our loved ones, and enjoy how easy everything flows and changes. With courageous eyes, we can see how everyone and everything is our teacher. We harness the ability to be foolish and risky enough to really go for our dreams. We naturally start to invest our energy in visualizing an amazingly bright, flawless future and stop judging ourselves for whatever shortcoming we were told we had. Join in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. This outer world will never, ever truly satisfy. Financial freedom, the perfect spouse, your ideal body, or your dream job will only give you temporary gratification. Soon, your ego will feel empty again, demand more money, bigger accomplishments, and much better toys. The only thing that truly satisfies this deep craving is a real connection with the truth of your being. To stop this striving habit, start diving deeper inside yourself. At your innermost core, you'll discover the sweet spot of your divine infinite nature. And just say, ah. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here. Wednesday, March 13th, 2024, around 9 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Time for Change call. And Thursday, March 14th, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening within you or outside of you.